Call the meeting to order. Meeting at the Fire and Police Commission of Marshfield. Okay. Roll call.
Yeah.
Taking roll call?
Yes.
Approval of the minutes of our 7/21/16 regular meeting.
I'll move.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a second to the motion. Is there any discussion, comments, changes, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries. Next item on our agenda is approval of the fire department bills. Chief?
Good morning.
Chief, excuse me, but can you explain why I have 2 cups of coffee? It's wonderful, but I don't,
I did you pour your own?
yes. Now I don't trust that one.
Oh. All right. In front of you are 2 sets of bills. Both of them were approved by Commissioner Myers. The only thing to bring to your attention is page 4L, and that was for a striker extended maintenance agreement on our bariatric cot, ramp, and winch. That's for that very, very heavy cot that goes up to 1,600 pounds. And that's a 7-year maintenance agreement. And that's almost warranted with something like that. The last thing we want to do is have any component of that fail us at any time while dealing with a patient that's that heavy. So other than that, I'd be glad to answer any questions and ask for your approval as submitted.
Are there, no, I guess, is there a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there, are there questions for the chief? Hearing none, it's roll call vote. Gershman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Keo? Yes. Motion carries. Well, chief, that one went pretty straightforward, didn't it? It was easy.
Pretty straightforward with the bills, so.
Yeah.
So I checked
Chief,
them.
excuse me?
That's because I checked them.
Oh, good.
Very thoroughly, in fact.
Chief Gramson?
Yes, good morning. 2 sets of bills in front of you. One signed on the 19th of July, the other on the 2nd of August. Just a couple things to bring to your attention on 5F. We began paying for our physical agility and annual job testing contract we have through Employer Solutions. That bill came out right at the top. The first of, I think, probably 1 or 2 more. Also on 5F, some ballistic vests to replace officers' vests who have expired. The nice thing about when we purchase vests for our officers, half of that amount is reimbursed through a grant through the federal government. So if a vest costs us $600, it's really only costing us $300 for those officers. And then on 5G, purchase of an investigator vehicle from V&H, which we had previously budgeted for. Be happy to answer any questions you have through those bills, otherwise I ask for your approval.
Motion to approve?
I'll move.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Questions for the chief? How do ballistic vests go out of date?
They're given a shelf life by the manufacturer. We've, through testing, both us and other agencies have shown that even 20 years down the road, they still have enough integrity to stop penetration from a bullet, but the manufacturer will only back those vests for, on average, 5 to 7 years. So that's usually the turnaround that we have for each officer's vest is about that 5 to 7 year mark. So every officer gets a new vest within 7 years, but it's just pretty much the only, I guess, warranty that the manufacturer places on those life-saving items.
Thank you. Any questions? Roll call vote. Gershman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Keo? Yes. Motion carries. Fire department activities, training reports and correspondence packet.
Yes, few things to bring to your attention. Page 6A, the Marshfield Fire Department, along with the PD, participated in a Safety City Week, which is for a kindergarten safety class that's there. That was, we both participated actually in its graduation on that day that it's listed. There's 2 fires to bring to your attention on page 6E. There's a fire at 1323 East 17th, and that was basically somebody had combustible items too near to the stove, and then those caught, and we were able to contain that to the room. The other was a car fire, which was an interesting one. It was a young lady, her parents had a car that had a recall on the door, and basically one of the components within that driver's side door caught fire and basically melted that whole inner panel of that door panel. And she drove quite a ways trying to get out of traffic before she finally stopped, and we were able to take care of it. That is under investigation. It's more out of our hands going over to the protective environment. And so those people that are in charge of checking on those things are looking at that as well. Page 6F, the fire inspection statistics that Commissioner Myers asked me to bring forward. It's showing the current versus the prior 2 years. Commissioner Myers asked a couple questions. I think it's worth going over to let you know. We do fire safety inspections as a matter of public regulations. SBS, which is Safety and Protective Services Division, their Chapter 314 mandates that we do that twice a year. So that's what we're doing. We're utilizing NFPA 1 and 101 standards along with a couple variations that SBS puts in that as what we are inspecting. And one of the things I want to bring to your attention is it's a little strange. We do 2 inspections a year, one every 6 months, but violations are generated during that 1 year period. Corrections are actually, sometimes corrections from the prior 6 months aren't noted until that new year. So you'll see that the prior 6 months violations that haven't been corrected are also figured in that. So that's why we can end up with over 100% corrections versus violations found during that time frame. But it will show you the current year versus the prior 2 years. Page 6G is a breakdown of the violations versus the corrections by the property type. And the types are mandated under the NFPA standards. And if you look, there's a group called Chapter 54, 55, and on down. Those are the old Department of Commerce chapters. Then they adopted the NFPA, and so the new versions are down below. Those people that are listed as a chapter that will stay that way until there is a major remodel or a total change of occupancy of that building. And then page 6H is basically a listing of violations found, just so you can have an idea of what it is that we're finding out there. Page 6K is a check for $60,296 from the state of Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin pulls aside 2% of all fire insurance dues that are come through, and they send them back to the fire departments as a whole, and that's to offset fire inspection costs as well as fire prevention and fire prevention training costs. Those inspections that we were talking about with the previous one are also tied to that payment. We are audited every year, and that's one of the carrots that they use, is to take away that money if you don't pass that audit. We have no problems with our audits. They go very well. Page 6M is a $2,800 payment from the state of Wisconsin for our underground storage tank and above ground storage tank inspection program. This is for us to do the yearly inspections on those, but we also have fees that are associated with installation of the tanks or removal of the tanks, and this program does make us money, so we're not expending any of our money on this. A lot of that is done on duty. Couple of donations to bring to your attention. Page 6N through P are donations to our fire extinguisher project. Our Fire Prevention Education Committee has been trying to generate this prop, and that it has a price tag in the $22,000 is what I think it goes for, and they've been slowly working up and collecting money toward that end. We have a nice letter Actually, 2 emails that are reference to the crew of firefighters McNamara, Altman, and Lucchini, who had a patient they brought into the ER, and that patient actually had his heart stop right after they dropped him off. They stayed around and helped bring that patient back. In fact, that patient's heart had stopped 3 times. And that patient, while he was still intubated the next day, was awake and was able to answer questions. So that was a positive outcome, at least in the short term. I do not know what the long-term results from that patient was. And then 6V is a letter about firefighter Winnestorfer, who's taking part of our child seat inspection program. You know, you'd think that that would be a pretty straightforward thing, but if you've ever tried to install one of these seats into your car, it can be difficult. And they find that the majority of those installed by people that aren't trained are installed incorrectly, not tight enough, not safe enough. And they really are a big safety factor for the kids. So a big part of what they do when they install these, install them correctly, but they spend time with education, not only on how to put this car seat in, but also how to correctly seat the child in the seat and make sure that they're safe and everything else. It's a 4-day training program just to be certified in doing that, which was very interesting. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have about this.
Commissioner Myers, did you get the information you were
Yes,
looking
I
for?
got it previously as well, so everyone has up on it and asked a few more questions, got a few more answers, and
You're okay.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the chief?
You say it's a 4-day program to be an instructor?
Just to be a car seat technician.
Oh.
I don't even want to know what the instructor part of it's gonna.
Takes me 4 days to put one in myself, so.
Well, you're always welcome to come down here and have one of these guys do it for you quickly.
You know, the kids even know how to do it better. No, Grandpa, you gotta do this, so.
But I have seen an awful lot of accidents where the correct installation of those car seats has saved the kids' lives. And
You know, nothing that should be that complicated.
I totally agree, but I don't know how you.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, thank you, Chief. Chief Gramza.
With our activity reports, a couple things to bring to your attention. We had another strategic planning meeting on the 6th of July. We have another one scheduled for late September. Insight with Jeff Cannon. Every month, the police department goes on Insight the second Friday of the month. I've been trying to get other officers and other administration involved in that, just to give them a taste of talking to the public and responding to various phone calls that may come in through the radio station, but then also just familiarizing themselves with different ways to reach out to the community and make themselves available. We had numerous active shooter trainings that we held throughout the city, to include working with Human Services and Culvers in town here. Then also I attended for 3 weeks, I attended a Senior Management Institute for Policing training in Boston. And first off, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to budget for that last year and attend this year. It was very beneficial. Some of the training that we covered through that 3 weeks was leading organizational change, succession planning, strategic planning, ethics, use of force, and the trends currently in law enforcement with use of force and how to properly de-escalate situations. Also, the use of analytics to run your organization was covered. We had numerous opportunities to talk to other police chiefs that formulated a panel and just to bounce ideas off of some of these police chiefs that run mega organizations, and also ones that have run organizations probably similar to our size, but have been faced with some, challenging leadership dilemmas through their tenure. One of the biggest, benefits to attending a training like this is just the networking that you get to participate in with all of the different leaders from organizations and departments throughout the country. There's 85 other police leaders or administrators at this training, covering, I believe, 34 states and Canada. So it was really beneficial to just network with these individuals and try to get a feel of how things are going in their organizations, what they're dealing with, what we're dealing with in the profession, both personally and professionally, and it was very beneficial, and I appreciate that. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on those police activities.
Commissioners? Thank you. Crime reports.
I passed them out late. You should have them in front of you. Nothing significant to bring to your attention through those crime reports. Our thefts are up a little bit this year. We were very fortunate to receive some information and have some successful investigations to where we were able to. We had a number of burglaries and car entries this past month that we were able to solve and apprehend the individuals responsible for that. I think they're responsible for three separate groups were responsible for a handful of business and residential break-ins, but then over 25 vehicle break-ins. So that was definitely a success. Some of our other numbers are up slightly compared to last year. One deceiving number I saw was it showed that our, through traffic, it showed that our OWIs, our operating while intoxicated, are down. They're actually up. There's just a cataloging error that we're trying to solve with the company, the software company that we use. Oftentimes, if we arrest somebody for drunk driving and they have some marijuana on them, it gets entered into our computer system as both an OWI and a possession of, say, marijuana. But the software is only bringing it up as whatever is listed first. So if the marijuana is listed first, it's counting it as a marijuana offense and not an OWI offense. So we have to just sort through how to make it count those as both, so the numbers are accurate. Here it's saying that we had 47 OWIs compared to 68 at this time last year. We're actually right around 72, so we're slightly above where we were last year. But we should be able to have that error solved by the next meeting. Otherwise, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on those.
Questions, gentlemen? Thank you, Chief. You're next on the agenda again, approval to hire a patrol officer.
Yes, with the resignation of Officer Scott Schley from our department, we do have one vacancy that we'd like to fill in the near future. Our goal is we have ongoing recruitment occurring right now. From my understanding, we have roughly 20 applicants. We would probably make a final announcement that we're going to close this pool of applicants at a certain date in the not too distant future. We'd like to run a hiring process, and if everything would go well, hopefully make an offer to hire by late October, early November, a start date of late October, early November for that individual. That would give us the time to properly run the hiring process for that individual, but then also give us that opportunity to absorb through the budget maybe some of those costs. When somebody departs our organization, we often pay them their vacation time that they've accrued in that active year, and just to make sure that the budget is appropriate. There's sometimes a delay in hiring when it's necessary to do so. So in this case, just with the way everything would lay out, we would probably look to, like I said, hire somebody and have them start late October, maybe early November. I'd look for your approval to pursue that hiring.
Officer Schley's contract ended July 30th.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for the chief? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If- We just had it. I looked at their mouths and everyone said aye. Write that down. We have a new item on the agenda that really was put on the agenda yesterday because of the timing involved and the chief being gone. We wound up having to add it. Would you want to talk us through item 10?
What that is a budget resolution to paint the armored rescue vehicle that we took delivery of about 2 months ago. This armored rescue vehicle was received free of charge from Department of Defense. There was some costs associated with delivery of that vehicle and just replacing some batteries and such, just to get the vehicle in safe and I guess safe and proper working order. What this budget resolution is for is to cover the cost for painting the vehicle. Reason we want to paint it is the vehicle right now is in a tan or militaristic looking color, a desert sand color. And it's our goal to make it more urbanized and to make it more consistent with the rest of our police fleet. So we had gone out for bid, and the low bid would be B&H Heavy Truck. So the monies that we would be looking to use for that paint job would be to paint it, but the monies are coming from restitution money that we receive from individuals who we've arrested for different drug possessions or drug purchases. And so that money we'd be using has no burden on the tax base. Taxpayers won't be fronting the cost of painting this. It will actually be the various drug users and drug dealers that we've apprehended over the course of the last years, that we would be using that money to paint this vehicle. I look for your approval to spend that money out of the deferred revenue restitution fund that we have. We'd be using about, we have roughly $8,000 in that account, a little over $8,000, so we'd be using roughly $5,400 out of that $8,000. I look for your approval and would be happy to answer any questions you might have on this.
Motion to approve. Second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Now it's time for comments or questions. Hearing none. Roll call vote. I'm going to ask, yes.
So the goal is to make it look less militarized and similar to our fleet. I'm just concerned that it looks militarized to me if it's all black. So I'm not sure if we're solving anything by keeping it all black either. Or what problem are we solving?
I guess I wouldn't consider it a problem. I just know that historically military vehicles have been camouflage or those desert colors, and right now our police fleet is black vehicles with white doors. This would be painted black with, the white accents on it to be similar to that of our current police vehicles. I don't know of many vehicles. I mean, unless we're talking, other aircraft that are black. There might be some. I guess I haven't seen any. So I thought that this was similar to what we currently have in our police fleet. It's similar to what I've seen some organizations.
Will be in the conference room. Morning meeting will be in the conference room.
What I've seen some organizations have that have these armored rescue vehicles. So I don't know if we'll ever completely get away from it looking like, potentially a military vehicle. It's no longer a military vehicle. It's decommissioned as a military vehicle. It's now a rescue vehicle. There's no weapons on this vehicle as far as being equipped with weapons. It's just an armored vehicle so that we can safely extract people from situations, so that we can protect officers or citizens from active gunfire that normally are ballistic vests or other areas of cover or concealment would not keep us safe from, or keep pedestrians or community members safe from. But yeah, there's certain aspects of it that may always look like it's a military vehicle.
Just curious, what does it matter what color it is?
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
The only thing that really makes it look military yet is that turret, which, unless you're gonna pluck somebody from a tree, I don't know.
We had discussed that, I guess, to talk about that, that turret protection up there. I'd be happy to share with you, I could send you through email, or I could talk at the next meeting, benefits of having that high vantage point. You know, whether it's evacuation, whether it's just being higher visibility. There's again no weapons from that area, and there's more safety and security benefits to having that than not having it. I guess both for those inside and those that this vehicle is coming to protect. So, but yeah, it's on there. We had talked about the excuse me, the benefits of removing that, cost benefit of removing that, and the thought was, since it was built with it, we would maintain it.
Any other comments? Commissioner Franklin,
I'll abstain from voting.
that's what thank you. Any other comments before we vote? It's roll call vote. We'll go forward. Gershman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Franklin abstains. Miller?
Yes.
Keo, yes. Motion carries. Is there any other business to bring before the assembly? Hearing none, we are adjourned, and